Hi everyone. So I just returned from a 3.5 day trip to Iceland, and it was puffin season. It was the spring, so we didn't get to see any northern lights, but spring was honestly, I think, a really good choice, especially for a quick trip. The weather was fantastic. There was a lot of rain, but again, to be expected. Now, two things that did shock me was one, how expensive the food was. And I know, if you do any research on Iceland at all, any research at all, everyone is gonna mention the price of food, and so that should not have been a shock to me. But it was. Hearing food's expensive and paying for expensive food are two completely different experiences. But again, nothing to complain about. It was expected, it was budgeted for, so no complaints there. Now, the second thing, I feel like no Reddit post, no blog, no YouTube video mentioned this, and if they did, I must have completely missed that side of YouTube, Reddit, etc. But the car that we rented on the Prindle, as London Tipton called it, did not have a park option. So I think the only options were drive, neutral, and reverse. And I don't know if that's something that's just common to European cars, but as an American, it was definitely a shock for me. And I think because the handbrake was up, instinctually, I realized that, okay, I just need to put the car in neutral and pull up the handbrake. But we did have an incident where we were parked on like a hillside, and I guess I didn't pull up the handbrake forcefully enough, and then the car just started slowly like inching backward, and luckily like my foot was on the brake, so I stopped it from going even further. But it all worked out. We brought the car back to the rental company safe and sound, no damages.
Just pay $23 for ice cream, a water, and a chocolate.
Okay, so enough of what I was shocked by. Is 3.5 days enough for Iceland? Well, that depends. It really depends on what you're looking to do while you're going. Would I have liked more days? Yes. Was 3.5 days sufficient for what I had planned to do? Also, yes. So the itinerary that I set up, I kept in mind the fact that, well, I only had 3.5 days realistically, and so there were certain things I couldn't do, like the Golden Circle, which it's crazy to go to Iceland and not do the Golden Circle, especially when you have a day in Reykjavík. It's like right there. However, we decided to prioritize sort of doing the south coast and going all the way to Glacier Lagoon. And with the amount of driving, I was just like, I don't think it's going to be plausible to hit those sites. So for day one, I think we really had two main activities, and that was Sky Lagoon and the Reykjavík food walk, which we did get to do. All of the additional things that we were just like, oh, if we got a chance, we'll do it, did not make it. We were exhausted, so we didn't do it. But day one, all in all, I think wasn't too bad.
Where are you guys from?
The US?
So starting with accommodations, we stayed at City Hub in the heart of Reykjavik. It was a hostel, but in pod style. So there were communal spaces like the entryway, sort of like a hangout spot, the bar, kitchen area, as well as shared bathrooms. But your bedroom itself were these individual pod style units, which not a lot of space for like luggage and additional items. However, the bed itself was quite spacious and no complaints there. And honestly, for what it was a fantastic option. And we did love sort of like the closed quarters and just, fun sized nature of it all. Within 3 minutes walking distance was one of the bakeries that I had highlighted on my list to visit. And honestly, it lived up to its name. We had the pastries, we had breakfast. I honestly preferred the pastries more than breakfast, and I don't know what it is, but Icelandic hot chocolate and whatever that very thick whipped cream is, amazing. So of all of the hot springs that we tried in Iceland, which again was not a lot, I think our favorite had to be Sky Lagoon. So Blue Lagoon is very aesthetic. You should do it. It's iconic. It was a great experience. But all in all, Sky Lagoon was just better. I think their 7-step ritual really set them apart. It was very relaxing. It was just a really good experience to go through, and the landscape and just the layout of the pools themselves was something that we really enjoyed. And it's quite spacious, not as spacious as Blue Lagoon, but if I only had to pick one, hands down, it would have been Sky Lagoon.
Signature Sky Lagoon Sea Salt Body Scrub. So you take one and you apply it to your body.
So the next thing on our list was the Reykjavík food walk. And I feel like this one also lived up to the expectation in that we got a snapshot of a lot of Icelandic cuisine and different things to try. Also just the navigation of Reykjavík because we got to walk around a bit. So I really liked that for a quick trip, we were able to sort of sample the highlights in terms of food.
Talked about that if a restaurant has been here for 5 years, it has made it. Like that's ancient. Like that place 25 years old, and it has never closed. All right. And then you're gonna chew the shark, and you're gonna chew it 7 to 10 times, all right? If it gets really difficult to chew it faster. And stop whining. All right, and then the final step is to shoot it down with the shot. You're not gonna sip it, you're not gonna smell it, you're gonna shoot it down like you're 17 years old again. All right, so it's gonna be scowl, chew, shoot. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Scowl!
I am proud of you.
You did very well.
I'm so proud of
I did it, Chrissy!
you. She's been telling us for 8 months she is not going to eat this.
You're not gonna do it. You're not gonna do it.
So for day 2, the midnight sun worked in our favor. We got to cover the things from day 1 that we didn't get to do. However, we did lose a bit of time in driving to the south coast, so that was a 5.5-hour drive, plus all of the stops along the way. Seljalandsfoss and being able to go behind the waterfall, that was an experience. Like, we got drenched, but it was totally worth it. And to be fair, because I had a raincoat, rain boots, we would have been fine up until that very last second when we had to exit. There's like a tiny sliver of the waterfall that like veered off to a side. Yeah, the water fell right into my rain boots and wet my socks, and so that was not fun. But up until that point, we did great. Like, we were soaked obviously, but I feel like my raincoat and rain boots did their job up until that sneak attack at the end. The only thing I can say about this viewpoint is that the wind has hands. That's the only way I can sum it up. The wind is intense that high up. And our final attraction stop on our drive was the black sand beach and the basalt columns. I think the only thing I didn't get to try on the food tour that was just top of my list was classic Icelandic lamb soup. So for our food stop in Vik, that was obviously my meal of choice.
Your destination is on the right.
No clue if it's evident in these shaky videos, but by the time we got to the hotel, I was exhausted. Like, my sister was like, oh yeah, record here, get this angle. And I'm like, listen, the people are gonna get what they're gonna get because I am tired, okay? So this is my attempt at doing a room tour while operating on, honestly, just zero energy. But the bed looks good. So on day 3, we departed what was definitely my favorite hotel of the entire trip, and also the one we spent like the least amount of time in. Like, we were knocked out, okay? And our adventure for the day just included a few stops on our way back to, honestly, the Golden Circle area, which is, again, so funny that we didn't see it and we were so close. So we did not go back to Reykjavík. We actually stopped about 45 minutes outside near the whole like Golden Circle. So one thing I found very interesting is the fact that it wasn't as cold as I thought it was going to be. And I know obviously it can get a lot colder, but being able to see icebergs just floating by in the water, you would think we would be in like, I don't know, sub-zero temperatures or something, but it was actually very pleasant for spring, I guess. So no complaints on the weather, but again, I just felt like it would be a lot colder for the things that we were seeing and the things that we were doing, but it wasn't, so no complaints.
So, this piece of ice and all of the icebergs you see around you, they come from a glacier that usually you can see all the way over there, but today with the weather, unfortunately, we cannot see it. The glacier is called Vatnajökull, and it takes up around 9% of the whole territory of Iceland. It is around 10,000 years old.
Let the record show that eating 1,000-year-old ice did not cause any sort of injury that I know of. And this is what I mean about like the weather being sort of unexpected for what we were seeing. So look at this beautiful field of flowers, as though a few hours earlier we weren't just sailing by glaciers and icebergs. Like, I don't know, it's just like mind-blowing to see the contrast. For our last accommodation, we actually made really great time in arriving, which means that we got to enjoy the amenities at this location, unlike the previous one, which also had like the hot tub, sauna, the whole spiel, but we did not get to do it. We were super exhausted. But this one, we did have some time to relax, and I really appreciated that for our last night in Iceland. Day 4, my least favorite day, always departure day. So for this day, we really only had 2 things in our itinerary, and that was this crater as well as the Blue Lagoon, which is only a few minutes away, I think about 20 minutes from the airport. So it just made sense to make that either the first or the last stop when you're arriving. And there you have it. So for me, 3.5 days was sufficient to do all of the things we set out to do. I think anything that didn't make the cut weren't things that we were keen on to begin with. But yes, Iceland was great, and I will probably be back for the Northern Lights, I think. But until next time, bye.